older 2005 tape showing him speaking about women in predatory terms. During the debate, Trump described the reporting as motherhood talk. Clinton called Trump's explanation a really weak excuse for behaving badly and mistreating people. Talks are continuing between Fiat Chrysler and the union representing their Canadian workers. Unifor has set a deadline of 11:59 tonight, threatening job action if they cannot come to an agreement. The union reached a deal with General Motors last month that it said it would use as a template for other negotiations. And a large international study led by Hamilton's McMaster University ties heavy exertion while stressed or mad to a tripled risk of having a heart attack within an hour. The risk was greatest between 6 p.m. and midnight, is independent of other factors such as smoking, high blood pressure, or obesity. From the Canadian Press, I'm Lori Paris.
Here's Mark and Don Leslie from Leslie Motors in Harriston, Walkerton, and Wingham.
Don, can you believe we are already in October? This year sure has slipped by. Did you say slip by? That's funny because Ford doesn't want you to slip in the winter. Purchase or lease select 2016-17 Ford vehicles at Leslie Motors Ford to get a no extra charge winter safety package, which includes winter tires, rims, and pressure sensors. Details at LeslieMotors.com. And don't forget about Leslie Motors no extra charge to your maintenance package with every new vehicle as well.
Leslie Motors in Harriston, Walkerton, and Wingham.
Weather is a presentation of Grey Bruce Brick and Landscape Supply. Make Grey Bruce Brick your only choice for building stones such as air scrap, permacon, and cultured stone. Drop by their showroom at 525 First Street in Hanover and experience superior customer service.
Tonight, clear and low of +3. For Tuesday, a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 18 degrees. For Wednesday, a mix of sun and cloud again and a high of 20. And looking ahead to Thursday, cloudy with a 30% chance of showers and a high of 13.
You have the power to give life. Donate blood and join the movement today. The Hanover Community Blood Drive is taking place on Tuesday, October the 11th, from 1:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Hanover Legion. 86 additional donors are needed to help support patients in need of blood. You can book today at blood.ca or by calling 1-888-236-6283.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the participants and not necessarily those of Blue Water Radio.
Welcome to Martial Arts World Radio. I'm your host, Joseph Clark. Each week in every show, we speak to different fighters from the UFC, Olympic martial arts medalists, and world champion martial artists or kickboxing icons, many of whom have gone on to become stars of martial arts cinema. I have a book to bring to your attention. Check out the book Ultimate Warrior Workouts by Martin Rooney, a complete illustrated collection of proven training techniques from around the globe. Also check out the Tao, T-A-O, of MMA at Amazon, or Google the Tao of MMA. By the way, if you're looking to dust off a good kickboxing movie, check out Ong Bak, the first Ong Bak, O-N-G-B-A-K, starring Tony Jaa. An incredible Muay Thai movie, great choreography, just a great flick. I highly recommend it. This week's inspirational quote is from Buddha and goes as follows. Endurance is one of the most difficult disciplines, but it is to the one who endures that the final victory comes. Hindu Prince Gautama Siddhartha, the founder of Buddhism, 563 to 483 BC.
Hi, I'm Bob Wall, the World Full Contact Karate Champion, and I'm the co-star of the Dragon. You're listening to Martial Arts World Radio with Joseph Clark. This is UFC fighter Jason Zaga. You are now listening to Martial Arts World Radio with Joseph Clark.
Don, right around the corner, and Florida's come up with some great offers to deal with. For the first time, you can get a set of winter tires, grips, and sensors at no extra charge on most 2016 and 17 F-150s. Or you can choose to take $1,500 in Ford accessories. And to top it off, get 0% financing up to 84 months on most 16 F-150s as well.
Wow, now if my Maple Leafs would go out and win the cup.
Hey, Sam, it's Joseph. I'm good. Are you good to go? All right, super. I'm going to make you a live mic now. We're just going to come back from a commercial break and get started. All right, super. So your phone is a live mic, and I'll be back on with an introduction for you. Break a leg. Thanks again.
While turning your laundry, bathroom, and kitchen brilliant, like me. Hey, Culligan man.
When an individual gets cancer, an entire family is affected. The Cancer Recovery Foundation of Canada helps families deal with cancer through camp scholarships, gift bags, and the Family Agency Service Fund. I'm Brian Linkletter, Executive Director of the Cancer Recovery Foundation of Canada. For more information about our programs or to make a donation, call us at 1-866-753-0303 or check our website at www.cancerrecovery.ca.
Special announcements are brought to you by Ontario Power Generation, Ontario's clean energy provider.
Rotary Bingo's back on the air, and each night there's $1,200 in total jackpots. On Tuesday nights, it's on Whiteman TV, Channel 1, from 7 to 8 p.m. And on Wednesday nights, it's on Eastlink TV, Channel 10. Proceeds from Rotary Bingo go towards the community improvement in Chesley, Durham, Hanover, Listowel, and Walkerton. Please ensure you purchase the correct ticket for the program you wish to play. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
You're ready to buy that special car, minivan, or SUV, but are worried about finding a reliable used vehicle. This is Greg Lamb of Lamb Auto in Hanover. Come in and take a look at our quality used cars. I personally drive each one to ensure your purchase is reliable and ready for years of great service. Let the experience of Lamb Auto get you that reliable vehicle you will love. Lamb Auto is in Hanover beside Ron's Restaurant or online at lambauto.ca.
You've heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. But did you ever consider that it takes the whole community pulling together to create a successful village? Doug Griffiths, former Minister of Municipal Affairs in Alberta and author of 13 Ways to Kill Your Community, will be sharing his experience and identifying challenges and opportunities all communities face. Join us in Newstep to listen, learn, and share at the Vibrant Villages Conference on Wednesday, October 19th. Tickets and further details are available online at sedc.ca or by calling the Saugeen Economic Development Corporation at 519-799-5750.
This is Brian Powers. Join me on Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. for the Blessed Hour. Each week, we feature classic Christian music, Bible scripture and commentary, and have special guests from the community. That's a Blessed Hour with me, Brian Powers, and Jerry Gibbs. Sunday mornings, 8 till 10 a.m., right here on 91.3 FM, No Other Radio.
This is Olivier Gruner. You are listening to Martial Arts World Radio with Joseph Clark.
Sam Stout is a respected former UFC fighter with a 20-fight stint with the UFC. His first UFC fight was voted number 16 in the top 100 greatest fights show. He was recognized by the UFC 6 times for the fight of the night and once with knockout of the night. He also has an impressive fight record with other professional promotion companies, and he had a record of 16 wins, only 4 losses as a professional kickboxer. Sam Stout, welcome and thanks for joining us. Oh, Sam, are you there? All right, we're going to reconnect with Sam Stout. In the interim, we're going to play our interview with Don the Dragon Wilson.
Here at Bob Wall's Kitchen in Tarzana, California, and I'm interviewing Don the Dragon Wilson. Don, welcome to Martial Arts World Radio.
Hi, Joseph. Thank you for inviting me to speak to your listeners.
Sam, you still there?
Now, Don, as I understand it, in
Oh my
the early
gosh.
days of the UFC, you were
Oh, you could.
about a
All right, no problem. So I think here's what's happened. We probably hit the wrong button on the board here, so I'm going to run this interview with Don the Dragon. Can I apologize about that. Can I reconnect with you?
spoke about entering the tournament, which, of course, you know, I'm a traditional kickboxer.
Okay, well-
And, I don't like fighting 8 guys in one night.
Oh, man, yeah.
Winning an 8-man tournament, so,
No, I understand that. So here's what I suggest that we do. The interview with Don the Dragon is like a 30-minute interview. We can just let that run. Can I reconnect with you? in about a half an hour's time, and then we could just proceed with yours.
Fights to kind of get to know the audience and the audience and their specific audience to know me. So after I
All right.
ended several fights, I asked them.
Yeah, not a problem. No, we can't, because we've got to play this thing out now because it's live. Yeah, I apologize about that. It's just, yeah,
They said, well, we're not
a comedy of errors. Yeah, not a problem.
as of today. So when they went against.
Yeah, not a problem. I'll reconnect with you, and hey, these things happen.
When you were in the ring, who was your toughest competitor?
All right, thanks.
You know what?
No problem. Thanks.
Distinguish because from 1980 on, I was a champion. Most everybody was tough in some way. Even though I may have ended some fights early, they were still dangerous fighters, and they had, when you become a champion, they will no longer pay for you to fight unranked fighters. You fight contenders or other champions. People consider it. So, yeah, they were all pretty tough fighters. I guess Bronco syndicated could have been one of my most difficult because I went into the fight with a broken hand. I broke it the week before the fight. Then I broke my other hand during the fight. So when you're fighting and you got two broken hands, it's not an easy day at the office.
Over time, did you have to adapt your style and start progressing it throughout your career?
Yeah, I think all fighters do that. You adapt to the sport itself was changing very rapidly as I started. The rules were changing. So the rules, the weight divisions, I mean, the many different associations, that means you've got to constantly adapt just to that. But the training methods, things like that it was evolving. The UFC is going through not just the UFC, but I mean mixed martial arts is going through the same kind of thing. The only place where they pretty stay consistent, which we did not in kickboxing, was the rules. The rules in these MMA fights are mainly the same. But in kickboxing, you can fight with low kicks, without low kicks, with elbows, without elbows, knees, without knees. So we had another kind of aspect of our sport that was difficult.
Over time, how did the rules change in kickboxing? Did it start off that you couldn't do low kicks and then you eventually could do low kicks, elbows? Was Muay Thai incorporated over time?
In kickboxing in America, first of all, they didn't even call it kickboxing, they call it full contact karate. So what we did was we took tournament karate, which was fought on the mat, and we kind of simulated that. There were no ring ropes in the first fights. In fact, my first fight was not even on a mat. My first fight was on a concrete floor. So that's the way tournaments were done. Tournaments were done on floors, and they felt full contact could be done that way. So it went from the idea of karate, traditional karate, full contact karate, to more like the kickboxing they have in the Orient.
Did you compete all around the world, or was it mostly in North America?
Oh, I fought all over the world. I fought 6 times in Japan, 6 times in Hong Kong, 3 times in Japan, once in Bangkok. I fought in Germany, Italy, Sweden, England, Canada, South America. I think I fought in every continent except the Antarctic.
Did the audiences differ?
Yeah, you know what? The audience, and when I found this, though, this is one thing, if you don't mind, I'm going to change it and tell you what the audiences worldwide, how they're similar is, they want the winner to win. Like I fought the German champion in Berlin, the Italian champion in Rome, the British champion in London. I mean, I fought in everybody's backyard. Now, at the beginning of the fights, they wanted their local guy to win, of course. But by the end of the fights, they were all cheering when I won because I dominated the fights, and their whole shift in support went to whoever was the winner. And so I found audiences have been very fair worldwide. Judges, newscasters, not so much.
Sounds kind of like the old gladiator days where you earn the audience's respect and then you earn the win and their approval of the win.
You were the first person to put it in those terms, and I realize now that that's exactly how it is. Possibly one of the emperors or something in Rome might have wanted the fighter to be, maybe he didn't like the fighter for whatever reason, but if the audience is cheering and they say thumbs up, then he gets the win. But regardless of what the audience said, I was picked up and carried out of an auditorium once, and they were chanting Wilson, Wilson the whole time, and the fight was declared to draw. But the audience was trying to tell me in their own way, which was pretty obvious that they felt I won. And it was in Montreal, it was against Johnny Ontario, who was Canadian, the local favorite. And yeah, but during the 12-round fight, they felt I won, and they were kind of trying to make up for the Canadian judges saying it was a draw and not a win for me. So that's one of the things. Now, as far as decisions, the 4 decisions that I've lost, and I have lost 4 decisions, I did not feel I lost them. I feel the 3 guys around the ring just said the other guy won more points than I did. So I didn't feel like they were losses, but the one loss I do have on my record, undeniable, was a TKO against a guy named Glenn McMorris. And it is a strange thing, but my life is full of strange, bizarre coincidences. But the fighter with the worst record that I ever faced, which was 9-6 at the time, knocked me out in the first round. That was Glenn McMorris. I was the #1 contender. He was a ranked fighter, so he had some skills. But it was I made a mistake, and he capitalized on it. And I give him all the credit, but I never made that mistake again. And I teach in all my seminars. Every seminar I teach exactly the mistake I make, so that nobody who takes my seminar will make the same mistake. And but that is my one loss that I consider a loss in 28 years of fighting. So I think I did pretty good for a kickboxer.
Going back to that UFC fight that never took place with Royce Gracie, if that fight had taken place, what would your strategy have been against such an aggressive grappler?
I'd certainly be to win on the striking end. Now, people don't realize I started off as a collegiate wrestler. I mean, and they don't know, Bill Wallace was the same way. Bill Wallace was a wrestler. In fact, his trainer was Dan Gable, the best wrestler in the nation, Olympic wrestler. And Bill went to judo, and then he went to karate and then full contact. But most martial artists, Joe Louis was a grappler. Grappling is part of self-defense. And so I started off in wrestling, grappling. They just didn't have a sport at that time in martial arts that you could compete with to add that. Now they add it. So in a way, I've been a mixed martial artist my whole career. I can punch, I can kick, I can elbow, knee, and I can fight on the ground. And I didn't look out for jiu-jitsu, of course, knowing that that's what police would do. But of course, my strategy would not be to dominate on the ground. My strategy is to dominate on my feet. I mean, it's not even equivalent. No disrespect to him, because he's not a striker. But if Royce Gracie wants to fight in a 12-round kickboxing match, I will fight him for free. I will donate my fight purse to the charity of his choice. I make that open offer. I did that with Matt Hughes, by the way. No rumor either put it together. But at one time, Dana White called me and asked me to fight Matt Hughes, which I agreed to do. That would have been an interesting fight, I thought, because at the time they were saying he's the best pound-for-pound MMA fighter in the world. At 170, and I fought 175, and I fought between 165 and 175, so I could easily fought in the 170. But yeah, Dana White was the reason why that fight didn't happen.
What do you think of the UFC today? Do you follow it?
I'm not a fan of any fighting. I don't watch boxing. I don't watch kickboxing. I don't watch MMA. If my friend is competing, I'll support my friends. I'll go to fights. They pay me to go to fights, and I'm not saying I don't enjoy watching. I do, but what I learned about myself is I'm a selfish athlete. I study fights when it's going to benefit my fighting style. When I'm not doing it, I don't really have much interest in just sitting in the stands and watching. When I play football, I watch every football game. I was an MVP of my high school football and basketball teams, and I watched basketball, football, nonstop when I played. But once I hung up the helmet and I quit dribbling the basketball, I haven't watched a game in years. I don't watch the Super Bowl. I don't watch NBA playoffs. I watch no sports, none.
Don, how did your career progress from being a professional athlete to an actor?
I made up the decision in 1985. I did one movie it was a Chinese movie in '82 in New York City called ABC in Chinatown, but it was not to become an actor. It was on the basis of Chuck Norris's recommendation that I moved to LA this was my actual first retirement. I retired in '85. I moved to LA and I made the attempt to make a transition from fighter to actor. But within, I think less than a year, I was out of money and people were offering me fights. So I said, you know what, I can do both. I can train, fight, and try to be an actor. That's what I did. But by 1990, within 5 years, I made so much money as an actor. And anybody knows kickboxing knows how to make much money there. and then it became a hobby. When it costs you money to do something, it's no longer a career. It is called a hobby. And it was an expensive hobby because I was making 10 times as an actor what I was making as a fighter. So I retired again, and that was 1990. So that's the second retirement. And I didn't come out of retirement until 98 when I got a fight offer by Viewer's Choice to fight Tim Kimber. And that money was, they gave me $150,000 just to sign the contract, and then 12% of the pay-per-view. So that was a great deal. And I did fight 3 fights, but then realized that, it was very, very difficult to get the boxing license. The boxing still controls kickboxing and MMA, the athletic commissions. And it was very difficult at 48 to get one. I would fight tonight if there was a proper money order, a money offer. But at 62, the idea of an athletic commission giving me a license, pretty far-fetched, I think. It was hard for me to get the license when I came out of retirement in my late 40s. I can imagine in my 60s what the athletic commission would say.
When you were preparing for a film, would you actually, when you had a film that was impacted, would you actually train as though you were preparing for a fight so that you looked good for the film, or was that required?
Once I signed to do a film, I look at the character and I see what should the character look like, and so I try to match my build to what I'm supposed to look like. But it's always better to drop some weight before a film. So I will always diet it down. But sometimes I've gone in weight training programs when it calls for a character that possibly would have more physical size. But I always diet for the films. I always drop 10 to 15 pounds. And, I think it's a standard thing, good thing for most actors. Probably 90%. You don't have to walk around in fighting shape. You don't have to walk around in filming shape. But you should, before you get on camera, it's always good to drop weight. And I pretty consistently do that.
You said you moved to LA. Where did you move from?
Yeah. I'm from Florida. I grew up in Florida.
The unfortunate
4 years old, from Olsen, Illinois, where I was born. And
so
I
he's
spent
phoned
my
in. I got him on. I do his intro.
Until I moved to LA in 85.
I don't queue up his mic.
I'm from the South, and I'm Asian looking, and when I first moved out here, my best friend was Chris Penn, Sean Penn, younger brother.
So
and
this
Sean
ends up
said to
being,
me, and he knows the business, he said, Don, you're going to have a hard time in this business. And I said,
a lost
why?
opportunity.
And Sean said, because they don't write roles for 6'4" Asians with Southern accents.
You know what?
But, you know what? They didn't write roles for Arnold Schwarzenegger. He became the highest paid actor in the world. If you remember, they didn't write roles for bodybuilding champions with Austrian accents. But, one thing about the film business is that the rule that everybody will agree to is nobody knows anything. And if you understand that about the business, because nobody knows how careers can manifest themselves and what the audience is ultimately going to fall in love with.
So, Don, when you were doing that transition and you were going around Los Angeles and Hollywood promoting yourself and attempting to land a career as an actor, were you going through the traditional steps that an actor trying to break into Hollywood would go through, or were you promoting yourself as a world champion kickboxer who should be considered for starring roles in his own action films?
I did not try to start off thinking I was going to be a box office star the first film out. What I did was I started taking acting lessons. I was auditioning for agents. You got to get an agent or you're not going to go out for anything. And I got an agent. Actually, I got Shogasugi's agent. We got the same agent. And later, Cynthia Rothrock went with him. I mean, he's known to be the agent for independent martial art action guys. But anyway, his name's Ray Cavalieri, and it's the only agent I've ever had. I've still got him to this day. So from 85 till now, the same agent. That's an aberration in the film business. Usually, you keep changing your agents depending on what kind of jobs they say they can get you. But I don't do that. I stick with my agent, and I've been with him since 85. But I just did the normal Hollywood thing. You audition, and I did, my first job was a bad guy on General Hospital. I did that for like 3 months. I was part of one of their story arcs, and I was what they call a U5, which means under 5 lines a day. I was only allowed to say 5 lines. If I said one over against the union and they'd have to pay me more money, it'd be a big problem for me. But I started off just taking jobs, and it wasn't until Bloodfist that I had a starring role, and that was '88. So I only been out to Hollywood for about 2.5 years. And that's not really considering paying your dues. 2.5 years is pretty short from going to nobody to starring in movies. That was released by MGM. It was a big, tremendous success that started my whole career. So, yeah, 2.5 years is not a long time when you think guys like Jack Nicholson, who are obviously we know he's talented, correct? Well, he spent the first 14 years as an actor working for minimum wage. In other words, no producer, no director ever thought he had as much talent as the next guy and was willing to pay him $1 more than the minimum wage for an actor. So, talent is not always obvious. I don't know if I had much talent. Now, looking back, I think I had great, well, not great. Yeah, I had great acting teachers. I believe Chuck Merriman and my brother, and I had great teachers in martial arts. And I was just lucky. I studied what they call the Stanford Meisner technique and of acting. And then I did this Charles Conrad studio for quite a while, which was really good. And then I had Ivana Chubak as a private. And look, Ivana Chubak has worked with the top actors. I believe she worked with Leonardo DiCaprio, but I'm not positive about that one. But I mean, Charlize Theron, she was her acting coach. So this is an action teacher, kind of like a master acting coach, like a master martial artist. There's a lot of similarities with acting and martial arts, but that's one of them. The teacher should get a lot of the credit, not most of the credit, but a lot of the credit for your performance.
Was Blood Fist written specifically for you?
As a matter of fact, Joseph, Blood Fist wasn't even written for an Asian. When they called me in, they had already cast the brother, and he's Caucasian, and when they saw me, they didn't know. Here's how the audition started. Casting director was told by Roger Corman, when Bloodsport came out, to get a world champion. So they opened up a magazine and said, Don Wilson, Beverly Hills, California. That's where I lived at the time. And world champion, light heavyweight champion. And so they looked in the phone book, and I was listed, because back in those days, you list yourself. And the casting director called me on my home phone and said, if you're the Don Wilson that's the kickboxer, we'd like for you to come in and read for a role. And I was the Don Wilson that was the kickboxer. And I went in, and as soon as he saw me, he said, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson, this is for a Caucasian lead. The brother's already been cast, but maybe you can be the bad guy. So I said, okay, I'll be the bad guy. I didn't, I'm trying to get any part. And I went in and I read one time for the casting director, and he stopped, he looked at me, and he said, I'll be right back. He leaves the room. He says, he comes back in, he says, Roger Corman wants to meet you. Now, I didn't know Roger Corman at the time, which was a great thing. Had I known who he was, that he started Jack Nicholson, Robert De Niro, Francis Ford Coppola, Jonathan Demme, Martin Scorsese, Ron Howard. If I'd known he was the man who was known to be the best eye for talent and could create careers, I would have been nervous. More nervous than I even was. But I wasn't too nervous because I already was told I was going to get the job, that, maybe Reed could get something else. And so he said Roger Corman wants to meet me. So I leave his office, and I go to Roger Corman's office, and Roger does not have me read right off the bat. He just says, Don, tell me about yourself. And I told him I was a kickboxer, that my friend Chuck Norris advised me to try to be an actor, and this, I'm moving out to Hollywood, and this is what I want to do for a living. So he says, read for me, please. So I start the reading, start the audition. I get about, I don't know, 4 or 5 lines into the scene. He stops me. Now today, we're having 30 years experience as an actor. That's usually a kiss of death. That means they don't even want to waste enough time to get the rest of the scene out. They want you out that door so they can see the real guy. But what he did was he looked at me and said, Don, you're going to star in this movie. He said, you're going to do martial art movies. He said, you're going to do action movies. He said, much, much later in your life, you'll be a famous dramatic actor.
Hello there.
He handed me the script. He said, you leave
So
2 weeks.
we've got about 13 more minutes left of this interview, which will take us up to roughly 7:45. I've got about 2 or 3 minutes of content that I must read, and then I'll interview you for about 10 minutes,
That's the one.
and then close off the show for the evening. So I won't be putting you on the spot, but in terms of the interview questions, we'll review who is the AMMAO, what do they do, where do they do it, what's the coverage area, how does that work, who does what,
in the last year.
members of the team.
My brother and I closed a year and a half over,
talent that you have
and I just did
on
the
the
first
team.
acting
Right,
festival,
what are
which
the
was
roles?
substitution. You substitute.
Why do they
If this guy you're in the scene with had killed your brother, how would you react?
So forth.
And I was able
What
to.
challenges you face? I'll ask you about
Today, I was
putting
able to
medical
full bunch
attention
of
or
Omicron is a great actor, but I was able to be
and maybe talk a little bit about your work with other
scene
like
because I did that
artists as well.
And I'm not saying Roger later was
We
disappointed
could talk
with me,
about
but
Hard Knocks for
I'm very
a minute or two, just about
no one else,
some of those stars
that he
who've gone to the
agreed
UFC who
real
came up through Hard
kickboxing
Knocks.
champions, I guess, because he was. I did recognize some people in the Jet Center, some other people in the waiting room.
All right, you'll do great. So we've got, I'll be calling you in about 5 more minutes, and then we'll be on in about 11 minutes.
12 movies with Roger Corman. Started
Okay,
12 of
I'll
his
be back.
films, and then
Thank you.
started 30 films now, and that was the launch of my career.
Don, you are no doubt an inspiration to many martial artists. Who are your inspirations?
I'm like everybody else. I mean, Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee
Is that still on?
one of my first and strongest.
Still running?
But Chuck Norris.
Yeah?
Because I actually knew Chuck, and
It is, yeah, it should be a live
I
stream.
mean, I wasn't in his generation. He was in this, I believe he retired
It
in 72.
is, yeah.
But he was
It's going live.
but
We
he
can
was
hear
known
you.
to be the best. And I got a lot of respect for Chuck, and I try to emulate a lot of his lead as far as entertainment, the transition from athlete to entertainer. And you know, if I could say I have one major person that is my personal hero, it would be Chuck Norris. But then again, you know, Bruce Lee's philosophy of fighting and everything. Of course, I also have him, but his is more like a fan thing. But Chuck and I have been personal friends for years, and you know, he's been great for me. He used to go to my fights and support them. He announced them. He put me in Walker, Texas Ranger just before it was ending, just so I could be a part of it, which I really appreciated that. When he called me, he said, "Don, we're wrapping up Walker. I want you to be on it." And I said, "Oh, send me the script." And he laughed. He said, "Don, you don't need a script." He said, "You're playing Don the Dragon Wilson." So I don't have to get into character. All I have to do is remember what he wants me to say. And it was fun. Me, Bill Wallace, if you remember the episode was called Legends, Joe Lewis, we all got together and did one of the last episodes of Walker.
When you were a professional kickboxer, did you ever have people on the street who tried to test your mettle?
Just conservatively tell people I'm probably 150-0 on the street. Because I worked in a bar for over 5 years. If I got into one fight a week, that'd be 55. We get into 3 fights in a night on a Friday night. Now, when I say fight, I don't mean a 12-round war. I mean, you slap a guy a couple of times, you hit him once, maybe in the stomach, and the fight's over. They're done. It's usually, because being a bouncer in a club, you're not there to beat people up, actually. You just have to be able to keep yourself from getting beaten up. Sometimes you will have to dish out a little to stop the guy. But you're there to keep the peace, because you can't have chairs getting broken or windows or what, you know, you can't have customers seeing a fight and running out of the club. So anyway, I was a peacekeeper basically. So those kind of fights, I had many of them. And I really, there's so many misnomers, the misconceptions of martial arts. I've heard this many times. They used to say in the UFC, well, all fights, 80% of fights end up on the ground. Well, you know what? They do not. There was not a single fight a guy grabbed me, took me to the ground. Now, I was already a wrestler then, so I could tie these guys, normal guys, into a knot. But I'm just saying, people don't know how to ground. They're not trained. It's not like a bunch of jiu-jitsu black belts fighting in bars. And we're talking the 70s. That's when I worked in a bar. It's just a drunk guy, overweight, and he might have played football. He might have done a little sports. He might have played basketball or something. So he's in shape. He's got progression. He's had one too many drinks, and he wants to throw a big, sloppy, wide punch. Well, it's easy to stop guys like that if you're any kind of level of martial artist. And the hard part is I have gone in front of judges before, and this was fighting 3 guys. But I was the one that was in legal trouble. Because when you're a black belt, and I was a kickboxer, and the other guys are, 2 of them are college students, one of them works part-time at a house of pancakes. They look like the ones that are defending themselves. Doesn't look like. It's hard for you to make it look like this is a case of self-defense, Your Honor. Well, anyway, I never got in trouble with the law. I mean, if you want, I was in front of judges, so that's certainly out of trouble. But I was not convicted or whatever. He did release me. I had witnesses that I was hit first, and so I had enough on my side, enough right on my side. But as a martial artist, none of us should ever take pride in beating the untrained fighter. I mean, imagine me as a kickboxer. If you just point at a guy in a mall and you say, "Don, I want you to fight 12 rounds in a kickboxing match," and I get him in the ring and I knock him out, and wow, what fight now. Now, if you got a guy who's been training for 15, 20 years, he's undefeated. You like Brock was, I think it was like 32-0. Or with 29 knockouts or something. Well, you beat that guy, you can brag all over the place. You should brag and brag and brag about that win, which I do. But, yeah, self-defense on the street, people when they say,
hello there.
Well, he's...
Okay, so we're on the air in about
on the streets, it's like
6 minutes or so.
This is how I can play a period.
Okay, good to go.
Street fighter is like a street tennis player.
You're on your,
If once
pardon?
in a while, a guy with a little
Alright, so
pencil
you're on your
has
mobile,
an
so the main thing is don't face, stay where you are, that way the signal doesn't
once in a while, how can
fade
you
in
go
and
up
out.
against a guy like Beyond Board, Jimmy
Alright,
Connors?
you'll do great.
I mean, you take the tennis grades. When you beat them,
We've got about 6
that's
minutes
something
left.
to brag
Just,
about. You don't brag about just
gonna
not
let
having
this
a train
finish
fight on
up,
the street.
and then I'll have a
And so
little bit
that's
of
why
a few
I don't
items,
think, you know, guys
and
like
then we'll
Mike
get
Tyson
right
or
into your
anybody,
interview.
you know, who actually, got someone like Hoist Gracie, if he beats a guy who's
Good.
untrained, not
Good.
even a black belt in anything, is
Oh,
Hoist
no
going to
doubt.
brag about that?
No doubt.
Street fighting, fighting on the street, while
This was such a good
the
interview.
X Factor, which is knives, guns,
Mhm.
weapons, multiple opponents, that can make it a interesting
And I'll have to remember to
competition. It
turn the
makes
mic
it
on.
more dangerous for you. But a one-on-one with an
Wow.
untrained guy, it's not even fair.
The thing that's frustrating about that is that it's such a lost
What has
opportunity. Like,
been
you
the
work so
single
hard
biggest
to
challenge you've ever had to face in your life?
especially in this case,
Being
to
good
ensure
father
that
is,
they're there,
you
they
know, and a
forget
lot of
everything
any
else.
family guy knows what I'm talking about. Being a good father, making the right decision with your family, that's the hardest thing. That makes
To lose it
kickboxing
over,
look like just
a
chicken
button.
feed. It's just like very easy. I mean, you know, life is not always as cut and dry as the ring. You know, I know who my opponent is in the ring. And we have a set of rules, and you need to go by the rules. So the X factor is taken out of it. But when you're in every day-to-day life, making the right decisions with your children,
You watching
with
anything?
relationships and things, and career choices, those are much more difficult. And you know
Yeah,
what?
yeah, you gotta
don't
make sure
need
you
to
turn
kick
it
boxing
off so
champion
there's no
and face
delay
that
or
kind of stuff
echo.
every day. You just got to be a parent. And so I have a lot of respect for anybody who has a family and their kids are doing well, because I know the parents did well. It's not a coincidence that the kids are doing well. You know, as a parent yourself, you know there's a lot of guidance, and the main thing, you know, as kids, every second they're on this earth, they're cutting the ties to us as the parents. And our job is not to make them dependent on us. Our job is to teach them to be able to live without us. Right? We want them to be successful. It's kind of like in the old days, in the evolutionary days, 1 million years ago, we have to teach them enough
We were
about
in
the
here for 2
environment
hours.
to be able to go out and hunt themselves, right? Because we're not going to be there always hunting and bringing home the bacon for the family. So that's the hardest thing. That seems to be the most difficult thing in life, is to raise your kids in the right way so that they're prepared for modern society to be successful.
Don, our last wrap-up question, what is your
I'm
philosophy
gonna make
and
your mic
advice
live now.
on dealing with loss?
If you're, well, you know, I tell people that
I'll be back.
losing money, losing your house, losing your job, to me, that's just the messiness of life. I try to have sympathy, but like somebody, you know, during the stock market crash of the Great Depression, he was a billionaire, and then he loses his money, jumps out of the building, kills himself. Well, you know what? He's not even in debt. He just loses the money that he's got, and he can't even live another day. I just want to have sympathy for people like that, because I go to third world countries where they're looking for water every day. That's a concern. They are looking for clean water. And in our country, I've seen people that throw a fit if their steak is not cooked right. That's the big problem he's had all day long. So you got to take things in perspective. Either health and well-being and happiness of your friends and family are your strongest concern. Everything else you have to take in stride. You know, you're going to have ups and downs in your career. You're going to have ups and downs financially. It's a roller coaster ride, and if the life was not a roller coaster ride, it'd be very boring.
All right, good stuff.
And
okay, good. So we're down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the on-air capture.
having lived without money, you
And then we'll
enjoy
get you queued up, okay?
having money. Now, if you were just
And you
born
will
like
do
Donald
amazing,
Trump,
I have no doubt.
and you have it, and you've always had it, and it's just a matter of how much you're going to have. Well, I don't think he has not lived. I don't
Pardon?
think he doesn't seem
All
to
right,
be able to
good.
relate to
Yeah,
the
something
people
suddenly went
that
quiet.
you know, most of this planet is just looking for clean water. I mean, a lot. It's the truth.
All right,
I
yeah,
think
that's
the number
better.
is something like
Remember, speak into your mic.
children under the age of 5 die every day of preventable disease and illness, preventable causes. And that's just a tragic thing when you think about it. But, I'm not holding anything against guys like Donald Trump, the 1%.
Okay, I'm going to make your mic, your phone a live mic now, and close off on this.
First
All
world
right,
problems.
break a leg. You'll do great.
Third world problems are finding clean water to drink every day. And I remember once I was watching something, one of the stars, I don't know, it was a game or something.
I know you'd be awesome.
She's got to walk like 3 or 4 miles every day just to get water. And then she walks back. And it's to provide water for her family. So she's carrying back some heavy water. She's just a little girl. And so I don't sweat the small stuff of life, It's just, I try to, if my family is healthy first, and then happy second, it's a good day for me. And it's just a matter of how much, I'm not saying I don't have ambition, but how much further up you can go, because you're already starting way above other people. If you get the friends and family are healthy, the rest is relative.
Great wisdom from Don the Dragon Wilson. Don, congratulations on your fight career. Congratulations on your acting career. And we just appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today.
Well, thank you very much. And, everybody listening, when you say congratulations, my success is responsible for the audience that have supported it. And there used to be a sports audience of kickboxing fans, and now it's movie fans, action movie fans. So I appreciate that and would like to say thank you to all your listeners who have ever watched my movies. And by the way, people put them up on YouTube. Now, hopefully no producers are going to get mad at me, but there's a lot of you just watch them free. I already got paid. I got paid 25 years ago. But I had a movie come out in Spanish, which was kind of unusual. It was a prison movie I did called Forced to Fight, and it's been viewed over 1 million times in 2 years. So people are watching movies online more and more, and I'd like to thank all my fans, and as long as they keep watching them, I'll keep making them.
Thanks again, and all the best to you, Don.
Thank you.
You have been listening to my interview with kickboxing champion and martial arts film star Don the Dragon Wilson, unquestionably one of, if not the greatest kickboxing champion of all time. He is the only kickboxer to win 11 world titles in 3 weight divisions: light heavyweight, super light heavyweight, and cruiserweight, and for 6 sanctioning organizations. Along the way, he defeated 11 other world champions, 12 #1 contenders, and 15 champions on 4 continents. He's also starred in over 35 films, made notable appearances in dozens of other productions, and he has been a screenwriter, producer, director, and fight choreographer. I interviewed Don at Bob Wall's house in Tarzana, just outside of Los Angeles, California, last week. For those of you listening to us while on your phones, tablets, or laptops, be sure to check out www.worldblackbelt.com, the world's foremost martial arts online community. Also, Google the book 21st Century Perspectives on Martial Arts, or go to Amazon and do a search for 21st Century Perspectives on Martial Arts. Now, thankfully, joining us on the air tonight is Tracy Clark, Compliance Officer for Amateur Mixed Martial Arts Ontario. Tracy, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. What is AMMAO?
Well, essentially, the AMMAO is a group of stakeholders who came together to create a safe and viable venue for amateur mixed martial artists to fight in the province of Ontario.
So it's the province of Ontario. I was going to ask you, where's your coverage area? Is it right from Ottawa through to Windsor, or what are the barriers or borders?
No, we are straight across Ontario.
Straight across Ontario. So how do you cover such a large area with all of the various events?
Well, it has to do with pre-planning and timing and ensuring we have the right staff that are trained properly and available to work those sites.
And that being said, how many are on your team?
Oh, our team is ever growing. We have at least a dozen total at the moment, with many kind of in the way that comes to event-specific venues.
Okay, and so why the AMMAO? Why do we require such an organization for amateur mixed martial arts in Ontario?
So back in 2013, when a law was passed that essentially essentially made it legal to have martial arts, mixed martial arts in Ontario. Unfortunately, it kind of fell to the private, the pro side first and foremost. So the amateur side was kind of left in the wings. There were a few organizations that came together to create these events, but unfortunately, their lack of safety, if you will, for fighters led us to create the ANNAO.
So what are some of the challenges that you face?
Well, it always has to come back to, making sure that we have the proper staffing and that our staff is trained properly for whatever may happen at an event. We can have an event that has absolutely nothing go wrong, or we can have an event where we have 3 fighters end up going to hospital for broken bones or exhaustion. So there's a gamut of things that can potentially go wrong at an event.
So I'm just thinking in terms of frequency, there's events that are taking place all over the province pretty well every weekend. So you must be a very busy organization.
We certainly have. By the end of this year, we will have had 22 events.
Oh, 22 events, terrific. So how does that get initiated? Sorry, go ahead.
We have one coming up this coming weekend in Cambridge on October the 22nd.
Oh, very good. What event is that?
That's Bloodline MMA, so that'll be their 3rd event, and it's looking to be quite a packed card for sure.
Okay, so does the promoter or the manager of the event reach out to you guys and get you involved, or how does that work?
Well, first they have to reach out and request sanctioning for that event, so we have to make sure that we have the staff available to work that event. And then from there, we provide them checklists of what we need as a commission, and then subsequently what I need as the compliance officer.
Okay, so on that subject of compliance, give me an example of the checklist of items or what has to pass compliance in order for an event to take place.
For myself, for my end of it, I have to ensure that all fighters have their blood work is up to date within the calendar year. That if there's any suspensions that were handed out at a previous event that has now passed, doctors don't send a candidate for that. So for me, it's more about their medical safety and ensuring that we have all that rounded off before they can fight again.
Talk to me in terms of safety. Let's go over that or dig into that in a little more detail. We're at an event, the evening of the event. Give me an example of some of the ways that you're there to ensure that they're complying with safety.
Well, we have to ensure that, again, it goes back to their blood work and any reports that come with it. If we see that a fighter is, how can I put it, has not covered properly, that they're dehydrated, that they obviously cannot go on, then we will ensure that that fight does not go on. It has to do with their safety first and foremost. Fighter first, promoter second.
So at an amateur event, would you insist that there's a doctor present or emergency staff present?
Oh, absolutely. The event will not go forward without an emergency doctor that is cage side at all times and have at least 2 paramedics standing by.
Oh, very good. And how about security?
Security, we ask that the venue usually needs to ensure that there's a certain amount of security present depending on the size of the venue, as well as usually 2 to 4 police are usually asked to come on.
All right. In your experience, is security required very often at these events? Is there because they seem to me, the events that I've attended, they almost seem to be a family affair in a lot of these rural areas where you go to some fantastic events. There's people of all ages there. There doesn't seem to be any trouble. It seems to go off without any problems or hitches.
There's been very few instances, but of course there will be the time that you don't have the sufficient amount of security that something is going to go wrong. But we've been very lucky in the events that we've had so far. There's, as I said, there's very few and far between. And more so than anything, security is there to ensure that fighters get out from the back to the cage quickly without interference, or if there is a medical emergency, that they are there to ensure that if it's opened up and so that nothing is impeding them getting to where they need to be.
So if somebody wants to reach out to the AMMAO, where would they find you online?
Oh, we're on Facebook. We have our website, which is ammao.ca. We've got us again on Facebook, AMMAO. You can reach us through many different venues or avenues, I should say.
Very good. So if they Google AMMAO or Amateur Mixed Martial Arts Ontario, they'll be sure to find you.
Oh, 100%.
All right, terrific. Now, Tracy, I understand that in a previous career iteration, you worked with Hard Knocks Fighting out of Alberta. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so Hard Knocks being a fight promotion company that's running a class act out of Western Canada. What UFC fighters got their start under your watch at Hard Knocks?
Well, not necessarily under mine, but just before mine, there was Ronda Rousey.
Okay, Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, we had Elias Theodorou.
Yeah.
And while I was working with them, it was Misha Serkinov.
Oh, very good. Very good. So I interviewed Misha Serkinov for my book, 21st Century Perspectives on Martial Arts, and Elias Theodorou, we've actually got a couple segments of interviews for this show, and we've aired some of them. Yeah. Okay, terrific. Well, Tracy, thanks very much for speaking with us today, and we wish you all the very best of luck with Amateur Mixed Martial Arts Ontario.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're most welcome. That was an interview with Tracy Clark, Compliance Officer with Amateur Mixed Martial Arts Ontario. Be sure to check us out at our website at www.mawradio.com or at Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube by following Martial Arts World Radio. Thanks for listening. I'm Joseph Clark, wishing you safe travels.
Blue Water Radio News is
You still there?
by New Orleans Pizza.
Okay, good job. Thank you once again.
Fall in love with the new chocolate
All right, talk to you soon.
for $4.99.
Bye now.
Place your online order.
Okay, thank you to our video followers on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We appreciate you logging in and seeing us tonight. Be sure to join us Mondays at 7 p.m. for more Martial Arts World Radio.
Excuse for a 2005 tape showing him speaking about women in predatory terms.